Hi guys, my name is MelissaJoyce and welcome to one of my Money Honeys videos. If you have been watching along through this series, then you will know we are currently at the point where we're talking about paying off your debts. If you have not been following along, if this is the first video you are watching, feel free to watch. But if you would like to see more of the entire journey and the program that we are going through, I would encourage you to go back to the start of this playlist and watch through from there. What I will do at the end of this video is put a card or a link back to the playlist so that you can watch it through in full. So, as part of talking about paying off debt, we are going to talk about motivational techniques that you can use. And we're specifically talking about this for paying off debt, but you should know you can use these techniques for anything that you are doing money related where it seems like you have to keep up motivation. So even if you don't have any debt to pay off, but you are saving up for something, you can adapt a lot of these techniques as well to keep yourself on track. So what often happens is at the start of paying off debt, you are super enthusiastic with it, you maybe get some quick wins, you're doing well, and then if you have larger debts to pay off, it begins to be less of a sprint and more of a marathon. And it can get tiring. You lose that motivation. Motivation is actually something that is difficult to keep up, or enthusiasm, I should say. And so there's going to be points where you kind of feel like giving up, you feel like focusing less on this. Maybe you just want to go back to paying for fun things with your money again. And what are some things you can do to stay on track? So we are going to group the motivational techniques we're talking about into 5 different techniques. The first one we're going to talk about, and I think this is my favorite, is to take the mental and make it visual. Oftentimes when we're paying off debt, there are a lot of things happening in the background and you're trying to keep it as a mental game. So you're creating your budget, and in that budget you are putting aside amounts to pay off of debt. You're doing all those things, and you know, you're online paying off debts or going into your bank or sending in checks, whatever that might be. But you know, if it's a random day during the week when you're doing none of those things and you're thinking, man, I just wish I could go out for a nice dinner tonight instead of making something at home, or you know, I would really love to go away for a weekend and maybe I should just do that instead of focusing on my debt. What you want to do is have something in front of you where you are seeing the progress you are making. So I'm going to give you a few examples of that. The first is probably something you've seen before, and that is a debt thermometer. And you can do a debt thermometer for your entire debt altogether. Or perhaps you want to make ones up for each individual debt. And what that's going to do is serve as a reminder every day of the progress that you are making. For a lot of these things, I suggest putting it up on your fridge. And especially if you are a couple or a family where you are working on this together, you want to make it visual for everyone. It's also a reminder of, you know, that you are doing this every day. So every time you go to the fridge, or maybe you want to put it on the mirror in the bathroom or something like that, you are seeing a reminder that you are working towards this goal. And, you know, every time you get to fill in a little bit of that, you know, thermometer, it just makes you that much more excited about the progress you are making towards your goal. Thermometer is one thing to do. I have a few other suggestions of things. One thing that you can do is to take 2 jars and put marbles into one of them and assign each marble a value. So say you're paying off a $1,000 debt and each marble is worth you know, $50, and so every time you pay off $50 you can take a marble out of one container and put it into the other. It might seem like a little thing, but I will tell you that moving those marbles over will get you excited, and it's fun to see the debt go down in one jar. You can label that jar as debt and then see it piling up in the other jar, which is debt paid off. The last one, and I think kind of my favorite, is to make some kind of pictorial representation where you can color things in. So my example of this is a tree, and say you have your credit card debt tree. You could draw a whole bunch of leaves on that tree, but you don't actually have to make it each leaf be representational of the exact same amount of money. So maybe some leaves represent $100, some leaves represent $500, maybe there's some leaves that represent $5 and $10. So every time you manage to put a little bit of money towards that debt, you can go in and find the leaf that corresponds to that amount and color it in, color it green. So as you pay off debt, you're tree is becoming brighter and greener and happier. This is also kind of nice to do because you can go in and hunt for those amounts. You don't have to wait. If 1 month all you can do is pay off, you know, $25 towards that debt instead of $50, you don't have to wait until the next month to fill it in. You can just go and find the leaves that add up to the $25 and color it in and feel you are making that progress. A couple other visual representations of the mental. We've talked before about building your vision, about what you want for your future. And as cheesy as this sounds, you can create a, you know, vision picture or vision board for yourself. Maybe if you're picturing yourself looking relaxed, you can find somebody looking, you know, zen, on a beach or sitting with a cup of tea. If you are looking to pay off your car and you want to have like a nice paid off car, put a few pictures of the car that you're paying off. If you want to get debt paid off so that perhaps you can go back to school in the future, then you can put some visual representation of that. Just something that when you start to feel like you want the immediate gratification instead of your long-term vision, there is something there reminding you of your long-term vision. And the very final and simple visual representation of the mental is every time you pay off a debt, take that debt, take maybe the piece of paper that was the last bill, for example, or maybe the notice that it's paid off, and put, you know, maybe a big red X through it, or, you know, paid off in big letters on it, or a big green check mark if it's the letter that you have it paid off, and put that on your fridge. Put it somewhere where you're going to see it. So every time you walk by, you go, yep, I am done with that one, and other ones are going to join it, and then I'm going to be finished. So those are a few ways you could take things that are a little bit hidden and make it front of mind for you every day. The second way to keep your motivation up is to have an accountability partner. So for some of you, if you are doing this with a spouse or a partner, or perhaps you have as a family where it's yourself and your child, if the child is at an appropriate age to understand, you know, debt and what you're doing, be the accountability partners for each other. So if one person starts to say, oh, I'm getting tired of this, the other person can remind you of your vision, can talk about how well you're doing, can cheer you on, and perhaps give you a little bit of a kick in the butt when you need it as well. This can maybe be a little bit more difficult if you are a single person, but if you have a sibling or a best friend or something like that, who is someone you feel comfortable talking about these things with, they can perhaps be your accountability partner with you. So maybe through text or through phone, if you're feeling like, you know, slipping and spending money on something maybe you shouldn't, or going over one of your budget categories, you can write to them and say, oh, I just want to do this. And you tell them ahead of time that their response to that has to be, no, think of your long-term goal. What you do need to make sure, if you have a friend or a partner or a spouse or something like that who is being your accountability partner, make sure that person and make sure you, for that other person, are being an accountability person and not an enabler. So I have found sometimes that what can happen when you're in couples is that you're like, oh, I shouldn't do this. And the other person says, oh, I know we shouldn't do it, but maybe let's just do it this one time. And instead of keeping each other on track, you are almost letting each other slip. So you need to sit down and set some ground rules with that person about, you know, we care about each other, we love each other, but we are going to be difficult on each other when we have to be, because we need to keep ourselves on track. The third item is kind of related to the second, and that is to talk about or write about your progress that you are making. So you may have one accountability partner, but perhaps a good thing for you is to talk about or write about why you are doing this, you know, how it feels when you do really well at it, being able to put information out there. So a couple of examples might be a YouTube video, sort of a vlog of your progress. You might be able to find other people who are doing similar things and you can comment on each other's videos. If people know that you're uploading, you feel a need to sit down and talk about how you're doing. So it's a little bit of accountability, but it also creates a record for yourself that when you're having a moment that you find hard, you can go back to where you talked about when you were doing well and how that felt. And you can think, I would rather have that feeling than the immediate gratification of whatever else I'm thinking of doing. It doesn't need to be that public. I mean, you could keep a blog about it where you are just writing. You can keep a diary about it that's just for yourself. There are all kinds of things that you can use on like your phone or your computer that are diary applications that you can keep going. It's a little bit more than an accountability partner in the sense that you're not just going to somebody when you need help, but you are writing about the good times, the hard times, the successes, perhaps the failures, and how you felt about all those different kinds of things, so that you can go back and see the progress that you're making and think about how happy you felt when you stayed on track and did things well. The fourth motivational technique is to keep learning. So if you have been watching these videos week to week, then maybe you get an extra boost of motivation whenever you watch one, because it resets you back to thinking about your money and your money management and what you are doing. But you can search this out in other places. You can follow along with blogs that are written about money management or paying off debt. You can find people who are doing vlogs or blogs about their progress. There are some archived television shows that you can watch. There are some podcasts, things like that. When I was more heavily into the day-to-day management of managing my budget and paying off debts, I found podcasts that I could listen to in my car on the way home from work, so that I always had that burst of like motivation of learning more about money, hearing about other people's issues, understanding how they were managing their money. It's just the more information you can gather, sometimes it just gives you that extra kick to keep doing what you know you should be doing. And the fifth motivational technique is to celebrate. So celebrate your progress. Celebrate when you are paying off a debt or have a big amount to put towards one of your debts. I mean, a celebration can be as little as calling your partner over or your family over, or perhaps your friend or your accountability partner when you are filling in that thermometer each month, and you can sort of cheer and high-five each other and just feel really good about it. And then you have that to look forward to the next time you get to move one of those marbles over, or whatever that might be. The other thing that you can choose to do is give yourself a little bit of a celebration amount for every debt that you pay off. It might be that you decide that for every debt that you pay off, you can take 1% of that amount and use it to celebrate in some way. So if you pay off $1,000 debt, that you can go and, take $10 and buy yourself something, perhaps a nice bath bomb to have a, relaxing night, or, $10 to go out with a girlfriend to the movies as a celebration. If you pay off a $10,000 debt, then take $100 and go out for a nice meal out with a friend or your partner. You want to keep these things in scale with the amount that you're paying off, so that your celebrations are not setting you back. But it's important to celebrate milestones. And sometimes it's fun to set those milestones out ahead. So maybe you take a list of your debts and you say, okay, what am I going to do to celebrate each one? And maybe it is that you plan for your last one, that once you pay off that debt, you get to save up for a month the amount that you are no longer putting towards debt and use it for a weekend away or something like that. So those are the motivational techniques you can use to keep yourself on track. It can be difficult, and if you are having trouble finding a motivational partner, or if you want somebody to just tell you like, that's awesome, way to go, send me a message. I am happy to celebrate your successes with you. Most people are. It can be difficult to talk about money, which is why, these are different techniques depending on how much of a shy or outgoing person you are. But I hope that at least some of these will help you and keep you going on the right path. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. That lets me know that people are watching and enjoying. If you have not watched the other videos in these series, I will put a card right here to the playlist, and you can go back and watch from the start. And if you've not subscribed, please consider doing so. I put out these videos every Sunday as much as possible. I tend to do beauty and product reviews through the week, these videos on Sundays, and I might start using Saturdays to do sort of vlogs or cooking videos. I haven't really decided yet, but please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or any comments, leave them in the comment bar. I respond to every comment that I get. And if you have a question that is perhaps a little bit more personal, my email address is also down below. Feel free to reach out to me and I would be happy to help. That is all. Have a wonderful day and I will see you again soon. Bye.